can't tell you how difficult this used to be.
Oh my God, I can't imagine.
Like I've been doing and trying to record myself for multiple reasons.
I was gonna say, what were you doing?
Yep.
It was the early 2000s.
Yep. He was strapped for
I don't
cash.
think anybody wants to see those.
I was going
videos.
through changes.
I'm going through changes.
Oh my God! And now I've let out too much. there's parts of me that
I think that was an overshare.
that was.
I think you let out too much on those videos.
No,
Don't worry, this is a safe space.
Thank you.
And
no,
all the viewers we have.
that's I feel like it's a safe space. That makes me excited that it's a safe space. But
Anytime.
oh God, no! So this used to be so difficult. Like you to have like 3 cameras, 3 microphones, a board. This is something that we could set up in 20 minutes. Like this is ridiculous. And the fact that like the technology now all speaks to it. Like that's the only way this could ever happen.
Yeah,
because like
sure.
I don't have a degree in this. I'm not that intelligent, guys.
I was surprised when we recorded the first time when you pulled out the board and all the mics. I was like, oh, he's ready to go.
Oh,
that's cool. All right.
That's my one thing, dude. And it's my wife. So I'm always like kind of talking to her about it because I'm like, listen, if we're going to do something, we need to get all the right equipment for it so that we do it well, like the first time. I don't like to half-ass it because then it just creates frustration and then it creates, you don't want to do it anymore. Right. And the less obstacles we have to get over, the better.
Frustration leads to anger. Yeah. Anger leads to hate.
Frustration leads to anger.
Hate leads to suffering.
Suffering. No. Yeah. So, oh my gosh, man. So welcome to another episode of Nostalgia Land. Thank you for joining us again. This is our second week now. Second week. Now that you're watching, you can know I'm holding up 3 fingers. Second week. What am I, German? Why am I doing that?
I don't know.
This is like this. This is thrice.
That's the it's the British 3.
The British 3. Oh yeah. What are the Germans?
It's a German.
Germans do this.
Oh,
one.
that is.
Yeah, that's the Inglorious Bastards.
That's right.
Yeah.
This will get you killed. You wouldn't be fighting in a basement.
Yeah, but I did this. Who's this?
I don't know. That's okay.
No, it's a racist.
Toy Story 2 is right
Careful.
there. Toy Story 2. Oh man. Yeah. So it's our second week doing video, podcast, recording, everything, so you can see our ugly faces and big old heads and everything. We were
giant heads.
We were just talking about how the AI we use to edit this seems to like Tyler's head the most.
I hope you do too.
Yeah.
I like it the most.
Thanks.
Here's my favorite
That's
head.
funny.
But yeah,
so kind.
It's my favorite head.
every one of the videos, this computer spat out.
It made me think of Al Snow from like WWF back in the day. What does everybody want? What does everybody need? He came out with a mannequin head. It was called Head.
Yeah.
That's what it was called.
And he used to headbang it.
Yeah.
God, I remember
and
that.
his like theme music was, "What does everybody want?" Everybody would yell, "Head!"
It was the Attitude
Oh
Era.
man,
It
yeah.
was classic.
We should
it's
do like
the
a whole
90s.
like
I
2
told you.
episodes on that.
I told you.
Yeah.
One day we will, and I will be in my element.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just going to be Tyler. You just run it. You just
Let
tell
him
us where you
cook.
want to go, and we're just going to go. We're just going to follow.
Just
it.
gonna let him
Trey,
try.
Trey can get in there too.
Yeah.
He was right there with
I
me
was
a lot
right
of the
there with
time.
him.
You see, I liked wrestling, but like that's the thing. When I came into your house, you guys loved wrestling. You got me into it more, and like because you would know all the names of everybody, so I would like sit there and just listen to you guys. Oh, okay, that's like Rashiki, and then Triple H and The Rock, Rikishi. Sorry, not Rashiki.
Rafiki's the monkey from
Like squash bananas.
Banana for you. No, but it's a male soap opera. So in order to care, you have to watch it regularly, which is why I can never get into it now because it doesn't have that edge to it like it did back in the day when they were having the Monday Night Wars. And I used to crawl along the floor guerrilla style trying to get past my mother to skip my bedtime and watch the last hour of Raw.
So in your house, the rooms are over way on the left side of the house. The living room's right in the middle. The TV
so our house is in a circle basically with 4 rooms. There's a formal living room, a formal dining room. Then there's the kitchen, which has a kind of a kitchen table in it that we used to eat around as a family. And then the den or the TV room. Yeah. And my mom would be in the TV room watching TV, and I would watch wrestling in the kitchen. Okay. So she would come in and tell me it's time to go to bed, And I would say, okay, great. I would wait for her to go back in the other room, and I would mute the TV, and I would go to bed.
Yeah.
And then I would crawl past the doorway where she could see me.
And you would go...
And I would wait.
Okay.
And when she looked away, boom, I'm across. And now I'm laying on the floor in the formal dining room, just watching. No audio. Just watching what was happening.
Did you steal... Wait, so you stole the remote and then you went and hit under the table?
I just left it there.
Oh, okay. You just left the TV
on, but I put it on mute so she didn't know.
Man,
and I even got
smart.
ballsy later where I would leave it on, but I would turn it down, and then I would go into the kitchen. I would crawl into the kitchen and stay down behind the counter where she couldn't see when she came in. Yeah, I was really interested.
I'm just gonna be like, why I just look at the floors. Why is there like this clean streak across the floor? And then
if they were super dirty, then yes.
No, I'm just saying no. Because for my house, like we had golden retriever and Shih Tzu, so there's hair everywhere mostly.
We
so
had outside dogs back then.
Oh, okay, yeah, but so like if I like glided across the floor, they'd be just covered in like why is that so hairy this morning?
My dad finally got the dogs in the house, and now there's 3 of them, and 2 of them they don't belong to them, but they're theirs now.
But they're there.
As much as Tanner likes to say his dog's his, and I like to say my dog's mine, all those dogs belong to my father, and he knows it. He knows it.
That's just the thing with that. So, did you sneak out? Did you use it? I mean, you pretty well. Like,
it was a lot harder for me to sneak out because I was in bunk beds and I was on the top bunk. And my younger brother, if you put a foot on his bed when he was sleeping, you got a wrestling move.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man. It was. Dude, I remember I used to in elementary school. I used to like swing my legs over the side of the bed because I didn't want to use the little ladder because Tanner's desk was like right at the bottom of the ladder, so you had to like shimmy like Mission Impossible style.
And that ladder sucked on your feet too. That thing hurt.
Yeah, it hurt. So I would just swing my legs over the top and then just like drop down and put my feet on the edge of his bed and jump off.
Yeah.
And normally he woke up before me, so it wasn't a big deal. But I remember one morning he just wasn't having it. I swung my feet down and I was airborne and I was like, oh, it's not good.
The ground's coming up real fast.
Bam. And I hear, don't swing your feet on my bed. And I was like, now it's on.
Tanner and I have very similar tempers.
It's good to know.
Trey's the nice one, the more well-rounded, the more normal.
You have your triggers, and that's okay. As long as we know them, then we're fine. Yeah, we'll stay in the gorilla.
It was a random one.
Feet on the bed in the morning, not my thing.
We used to have those like steel-style chairs that we'd like hit each other with.
The red ones?
Yeah. Oh, he clapped me with that thing.
Okay, I never did anything like that.
Tanner was like, we weren't separated by that far of like time period.
You're kind of Irish twins, aren't you?
Right, no, 2 years, but
yeah.
But he's always been like just as big as I was, so it was like crap.
But for the most part, though, you guys had a pretty good relationship.
Yeah, once we got our own rooms, we like rarely fought.
Oh yeah.
It was makes a difference. It was like proximity and boredom.
It's true. It's true. And anytime you live in the same room with a person that you're not madly in love with or in a relationship with, it tempers flare easily. It's very annoying.
I agree. I mean, that's siblings being siblings. Like my sister was 3 years older than me, and so like we never really had like
you got
the same
the number right that
friend. Oh, I did it.
If you just keep putting it up, eventually it's going to be the right number.
I did it though.
Yeah. So that one got me. That was for me.
Oh, I'm proud of myself though. Okay. Well, so she's 3 years, so we never really like ran in the same friend group and like any of that until high school. And like, well, I was like middle school, like seventh, 8th grade, and she was a junior, senior in high school during that time. And so like, but like she was, and that was like our best point of relationship. She was so cool to me. Like she would be like, hey, you guys, you want to come to this party and hang out? And then they get there and there's a bunch of high schoolers and be like, oh, I shouldn't be here.
I shouldn't come to this party.
This is not, where's the Nintendo?
Can I go to a basement?
In the playroom.
Can I go back to Trey's house?
Can I go back to the playroom?
Yeah. But no, like we never really, I don't think we ever really fought crazy or like hit each other like that. But
well, your
like,
sister's pretty awesome, so it's surprising. That if you guys
she's
fought,
pretty
I would be
chill.
surprised.
Yeah, she's really chill. So I don't think we ever had. I'd have to ask my mom or anything. Do you remember us getting? Yeah, but we'd have to find that out. Anyways.
Oh, the horror stories our mother could tell.
Horror story. There's the segue.
Yeah.
Because today we're talking about stories. Adventure.
I like the
fairy tales.
Oh, good.
Horror.
Okay.
You can call me the Pagemaster.
And head trauma. That's
Yes.
And Macaulay Culkin's animated
pretty
lips.
decent animation. Yeah.
Today, you said it perfectly.
We're talking about the Pagemaster. That's right.
Oh man, help me. Was this 94?
This was 1990 and
It was the 20th century.
I think it was, yeah.
It was 94.
1994's classic live action / animated classic Pagemaster.
Yeah, because Macaulay Culkin had 3 movies come out in the same year that year.
Man, this was just Culkin craze, dude.
I feel so bad for the guy because
They all powers.
Right?
They all flopped. All 3 movies came out in the same year and flopped. Now, I can see why the Pagemaster flopped, and I can see why Getting Even with Dad flopped because I've never even heard of that movie.
That flew under the radar too. I saw that on the list as well. I was like,
But
even.
Richie Rich?
Yeah,
Richie Rich was good. I liked Richie Rich.
I like that
movie.
one though. Yeah, that's a great movie.
I finally remember this movie just because my aforementioned younger brother, we used to do a line from this movie just to crack people up.
I had Matt put it on the board because it was hysterically funny when these 2 kids would do this. Let's hear it.
Okay.
What? And
That was the one. The last scream watching these kids do this was hysterical.
Oh, man.
Oh, dude.
Whenever somebody would say like, "No, you can't do that. That's scary." It was like me and Terry looking at each other like, "Oh." He said the line.
He said it. We gotta do it now.
This was another one of those movies that like you talked about in the Labyrinth episode where like you thought it only existed at your aunt's house. We only got to watch this movie when we went to our house in North Carolina, like my grandma's house, because my aunt was like, even then she like hoarded cassette tapes.
Well, what it was she was a librarian for school.
Oh, okay.
And she was able to record multiple movies onto a single VHS. And when you went back into the playroom, there would be these VHS tapes with 4 or 5 movies all compacted onto
Sister Act, Pocahontas.
I mean, you name it. They were all there.
Arthur.
I have the most obscure movies, too. There's a movie called Tommy Tricker and the Stamp Traveler.
Oh, God.
Excuse you?
Movie's amazing.
That I grew up with. Grew up watching this movie, thought everybody... That we quote lines to each other all the time still.
Hold on.
Big trees, tall trees.
Big tall trees.
Yeah, see, we can do it anytime.
Hold on.
And
Say the title again. What was
Tommy
it?
Tricker and the Stamp Traveler.
Okay.
So I always thought that this movie was just, one of those movies that flew under the radar, was a flop. Nobody. It turns out that it's an Australian movie.
Oh.
And nobody from here knows what it is. And I was talking to a buddy of mine like 5 years ago about this movie because we were reminiscing about movies that meant something to us as a kid.
You were doing this show without recording it, is what I'm hearing.
Exactly, yes.
You're copywriting in front of us.
Yes, I was committing copyright infringement. And I brought up this movie because we were talking about Flight of the Navigator and these movies that my brother showed me because he's a little older than I am. And I said, "Have you ever seen Tommy Tricker and the Stamp Traveler?" He said, "No, I never heard of it." So I started looking it up, and I found a DVD. It cost me over $90 because it's so rare.
Dude.
I went ahead and bought it.
Yeah, of course you did.
Yeah. And I'm like, I work hard.
It's good.
I make my money.
Work hard, all right?
I don't have children. I can spend
shit.
this money this one time, this splurge.
Yeah.
And it's not the best movie, but to me it holds that
It's probably
nostalgic
good that you have
place.
that DVD because I don't think we're finding that VHS.
No, I don't think. Yeah,
No.
we need to preserve it.
If the playroom keeps getting cleaned out, we're never going to find anything again.
No.
Yeah.
No, we need to preserve that. Is what
Yeah.
like I need to get that and rip it off and put it onto some digitize it somewhere because that I gotta see this movie. It's Australian and it's Tommy
Tricker and the Stamp Traveler. And so basically the concept of this movie is there's a magic that lets you shrink down and write a stamp. And when the person on the other end opens the letter, you come out of the stamp and you're there. And a guy back in the day that was using this magic got trapped in the stamp.
Oh, it's like a Jumanji thing.
So nobody ever opened the letter that he was
His letter
on.
got thrown in the trash.
If we had to remake that movie now, would it be emails and like attachments?
You'd just be dead.
Attachments. Yeah.
Yeah. because you
Not opening that.
You get put in the junk folder.
Yeah, right
That's
away.
it.
Spam.
Oh, I'm sorry. My Gmail account just thought you were a piece of spam, so I just threw it
you
away.
become the Recheck Kims and Wreck-It Ralph when their arcade games get unplugged. And they just meet in the tavern.
Don't say anything about being a Somali prince or having a lot of gold because you're never getting open.
Yeah.
Oh my lord, yeah, we can talk about that in another point. Definitely emails of the early 2000s and how your parents lost your inheritance. We can go through that. No, but so this movie, Pagemaster. I mean, for me, when I rewatched this, I was like, oh my, like this really hit home with the nostalgia. Like I was blown away with how much I didn't remember, because I thought like, oh, I have a record of this. Like, yeah, I remember there's some toys. I remember like, the feel of it. But this was definitely one that I was like, oh my God, that's right. This was like an hour and 15-minute movie for the public library system. Now rewatching it. Yeah, this is
it was like Reading Rainbow, the movie.
Yeah.
Without LeVar Burton. Instead of Data, they got Jean-Luc Picard.
Oh, that's right.
It was library propaganda is what it was.
Oh my gosh, but you mean they sell it though? Like I told my kids were like, can we go to the library? And I was like, yeah, it's not gonna like they ain't gonna flip and turn into like a cartoon or anything, but we'll go. Yeah, let's definitely. I want my kids to read. Like,
absolutely.
To be excited about.
I want
books.
them to know how.
Yeah, eventually, not right now. I still want to be able to write curse words on the fridge, and they just kind of like, what does that mean? And it's like, it's popsicles.
It's Spanish for duck. Get away from me.
No, but like, I mean, Christopher Lloyd in this, I mean, was a perfect casting as the librarian
and the Pagemaster.
I have a small issue.
Oh yeah, with Lloyd?
Christopher Lloyd.
Okay.
In this movie only.
Okay.
Because Macaulay Culkin and Christopher Lloyd, so many classic movies from when I was a child and growing up, but when he gets to the library and you first see Christopher Lloyd, it is the most terrifying interaction.
You know what? Go.
He's an old man.
Yeah.
He looks like Karl Marx.
I know what you're talking about.
And he gets right in this kid's face.
Do you want a book? Do you want to read a book?
Yes. You want adventure? Fantasy? Oh, it's horror. And when the camera pans back, he's inches from this poor child's face. And all I could think was, he's never going to want to read again.
Yes,
Can I go home?
It's what they made out the old man in Home Alone to be, like the guy with the salt.
The shovel? Yes.
Like if all their worst fears were realized, that's the librarian.
Yes. Yes. He's a serial killer.
Yeah.
Or a pedophile.
Yeah.
If you pick it, he is it.
And in the winter, he salts the streets.
It saves you from the sticky bandits.
This trash can of salt.
And his shell just...
Or would it be his cart of books?
Yeah. and he just opens a thing of salt on the back.
And in the movie, his name is
Mr. Dewey.
Mr. Dewey in honor of the Dewey Decimal System, which a lot of people today may not know what that
Dewey
is.
Decimal System.
That's a different language, honestly. I mean, so we open up and this movie starts with Macaulay Culkin being the wettest noodle I've ever seen. I mean, I felt bad for this kid, but also mostly I felt bad for the parents.
I feel bad for his dad.
Ed Begley Jr.
Yeah.
That's tough for me to say, apparently.
Yeah.
But yes, I feel terrible for that guy, except for the fact that he's building the scaredest kid in the entire world a treehouse.
Yeah.
And his mother is like, he doesn't like heights. Why are you building him a treehouse?
He's like, well, damn it, Sheriff.
He's going to play with it.
I bought the wood. I got to do something with it.
And it opens on his room with the signs that say no smoking,
Yeah.
electrical hazard. There's a
Fire extinguisher. God. He has rope ladders and emergency kits on
yes,
his head. Yeah.
Yes. He's ready for any
He's
situation.
that kid who got into safety patrols in elementary school and got like way too
Hey, I was in that.
I'm the hall monitor.
Yeah.
Safety Patrols was built for this kid.
Let me see your hall pass.
No, but like, so he's agoraphobic. Is that the right word?
No,
not agoraphobic.
He's afraid of everything.
Over
He's like a
everything.
hypochondriac and
Yeah. He's got a lot of phobics. And
the problem that I had with believing the character in the beginning, so they take him to the library because they want him to read books. This kid knows so many statistics. This was before the internet. This kid read every single book.
Reading.
No, they bought him the encyclopedia.
That's all he read. Just the encyclopedia.
Yeah, you want to traumatize some kids? Buy them an encyclopedia and like a medical journal. Like, oh, here's all the ways.
Yeah. So like when the premise that gets the movie started is his dad's building the treehouse and he needs more nails. He's out of nails.
Well, he basically is getting rid of the kid.
Yeah.
Because he just made him fall out of the treehouse.
Well, after quoting that he wouldn't climb up the ladder because like 70% of accidents involves ladders.
It was 8% of accidents happen at the home and 3% happen in trees. So that's 11% probability that someone will get hurt. I don't follow his math so much, but
Wait,
he causes his father to fall out of the tree and get hurt.
Yeah. No, I mean, like the whole premise is that he has to run out and get more nails. His dad's like, go, you can do this.
Yeah.
Go to the hardware store
and just get one of these.
Just nails. Just get me nails.
Just show it.
Just get nails.
Just show it to the guy at the hardware store.
Yeah. And he'll know what to do. But like, I was like, okay, this is the safety kid. And like, he's what, 8 years old, 9 years old in this maybe. And like, okay, you're going to send your kid on his bike. This was different times, dude. You're going to go to a hardware store. Yeah. Different bike. And he obviously modded.
Bike is safer than most sedans.
His bike has a windshield.
It had a windshield. It had headlights. Yeah. It had a backup like beeper.
The beep was constant.
Oh yeah, that's
whenever
right.
And I was watching YouTube videos trying to get some other people's takes.
Yeah.
And I turned on this one, and this girl said his bike was pretty cool. I turned it right off. I'm like, I don't need to listen to the rest of this because that's garbage.
All right, nerd.
Yeah.
This reminds me of the Homer Simpson, the nerd.
When the three of us sitting around doing this can call you a nerd.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That's the Bad News Bears.
You got to be Macaulay Culkin from the 90s.
How nerdy are you?
The storm moves in.
Yeah, well, one, how does this kid who's like super afraid of everything not know the weather? Like,
and he's riding on the wrong side of the street into traffic on like a pretty busy looking road.
Yeah,
things didn't add up.
He gets bullied into taking the long way.
Yeah.
Because these kids are like jumping.
Boy 1, girl 1, and boy 2. And when you look at the credits,
but like
they got their paychecks.
Yeah, neighborhood
they
kid
did.
1.
Yeah.
But it's like in the 90s, did like construction workers just leave like giant rolls of tubing and like 2x4s laying around? Because that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Oh, let's launch over it.
Just building ramps and stuff.
Do you guys see the sweet pipe over on Elm?
Let's go cause an insurance policy.
Let's go commit insurance fraud.
And that's why. So he to get to the library, he avoids children. He just avoids kids his age.
Bullies.
Yeah,
we've all avoided bullies. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, we all gone the other way
if
around
you didn't,
the hall. You know
because you were the bully.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Get some therapy. Call some people. So apologies need to be.
You've seen Billy Madison.
You enjoy from the Goonies.
Let's go back from Troy.
So he avoids and he goes the long way, and then it starts to like hurricane out of nowhere.
It's a tropical warning.
Seriously.
In California, because you know they're in California because as he's walking up to the steps of what looks like an abandoned building, it says Los Angeles Natural History Museum.
I didn't notice that.
On the floor. Yeah, next time you watch it, and Macaulay Culkin starts wandering up those stairs and he gets scared by the lion, the statue.
The gargoyle.
Yeah, and then he goes up. Yeah, on the floor it says Los Angeles Natural History.
Wow, that's a really good catch.
Yeah.
So I got a really big TV.
He does.
It's quite
an awesome TV.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
But yeah, so he wrecks his bike because of the wind, I guess.
I agree with you.
Air?
What the hell is going on?
He's riding
Why
his
does this
bike
little kid crash into a statue with nothing else around it?
Like everything's going fine, and then they're out of nowhere, hurricane, tornado, whatever.
Yeah.
Like it goes from looking like, you know,
it's a nice
scenic
sunny
Barbados
day.
outside to looking like, oh my god.
He's got problems working out, but he gets inside.
I think it was getting pushed there. Fate was taking
Yeah.
him to go and meet the Pagemaster.
The animated,
The winds of change.
The animated dragon already had him.
Oh my
Just
gosh.
pulling him in. But
Can't wait till we get to that thing.
Okay, so he gets into that building. He gets assaulted by Christopher Lloyd. About
Personal
books.
bubble. That guy needs a hula.
He gives him a library card.
Yeah, but she
Like
didn't ask
first
for
thing,
it.
like, hey, Here it is. Like one of those cheap magicians that hide the cards behind their head. Oh, there it is. It was behind your ear.
And Macaulay Culkin keeps trying to tell him,
I just want to use the phone.
I just need to use the phone. I don't want books. I don't want books.
Can I go home?
And then he gets super depressed. Mr. Dewey does.
Yeah.
And sends him to the payphone at the back of the library.
You know he had like a phone in that front desk.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He put the phone below the desk and then told him to go to the back.
You gotta go all the way to the back. And then look out for Marty. He's somewhere in there. Yeah, no, he sends him he's like, head that way and then go north. And then it's like, how else?
Well, because on the floor there's a compass.
But how else are you gonna confuse an 8-year-old? And be like,
true.
north. I can't even spell my name most times. Macaulay what? Sorry. MCA.
Hammer. You gotta buy a vowel.
Yeah.
And then he says that if you ever feel lost, look to the exit.
Oh yeah. Look to the books.
Look to the books later.
Yeah.
But he says if you feel lost, look to the exit sign, and that'll lead you home.
Yeah.
Marty. Just
so he starts walking into this.
He comes into the rotunda.
Yeah, he comes into the rotunda and he's staring at this mural on the ceiling.
And the artwork is
good.
It's good.
Yeah,
pretty good,
it's
man.
There's like a knight and dragon scene where like this knight is fighting a dragon that the fire's going into the shield.
Yeah.
There's a pirate scene. There's like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde mural, and then there's a
Moby Dick.
Yeah, there's Moby Dick, and
Moby
then
Dick.
there's like the fairy, like the little fairies.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was remembering 4 images up there, and then Christopher Lloyd.
Well, like in the
The Pagemaster.
as you get closer to the middle, there's like more and more stuff jammed into
okay.
it.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so
Good eye again.
he's
I didn't catch
standing there, and his jacket is just dripping.
Yeah.
Like,
that. The next huge problem, that I have with this. Did this kid get vertigo? What happened? He just standing completely still,
Mesmerized by
starts to look up, doesn't even put his head vertical, and just falls so hard on the ground. Gets probably CTE. We're looking at here.
Yeah, I mean, he's out.
He is out.
Give from a medical perspective. Give a little. What are you experiencing when you get hard?
Out. Like that's like when you get called for targeting in college football. Like that kid's out.
Oh, like
Concussion
parents.
City.
Parents are talking about. Oh, he's just gonna be able to walk from the home to the mailbox, and that's just gonna be his
He's
day
gonna
from
have
now
sensitivity to light.
Yeah. he's gonna have some real violent mood swings after this because he is out.
Yeah. And so he passes out, and the painting starts to like melt off the ceiling.
Yeah,
Like,
he wakes up at night.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he comes
hours have
to-
gone by.
And he sits up and he's calling for the librarian, and the library's completely dark
Yeah.
except the
rotunda,
rotunda that he's
The
in.
thing I thought about when he comes to, and it's nighttime and everything, is just Christopher Lloyd like peeking up from behind the desk, like.
He's separating.
Yeah, he's
books.
separating books.
And then realize,
That's what he meant by look to the books.
He's the one melting the paint off of the mural.
he's alive. Then taking a big huff of paint, like fresh paint can, just
Delicious.
Oh, I'm gonna get so sued.
hope they never catch me.
Yeah.
But that scene, that was one of the first things that like kicked in so much nostalgia for me was the melting
of the paint.
Yeah, it was a cool
like,
effect that they
And
did
then it
there.
becomes a paint dragon.
Yeah, it does.
It does.
And
it chases him.
Yeah.
And that's what transitions the movie from live action into an animated movie. Like
in total, this whole movie only has 17 minutes of live action, and it's one of the first movies to do a split between live action and animation.
What?
Yeah,
Is this
one of the
Disney?
first?
Is
Yeah,
this
it's what's
Disney animation? Is this a Disney movie?
No.
But I have
So
points to talk about with that, but
Because the animation style is very similar.
yes, please continue. So you're saying 17 minutes, but this is the first time?
one of the first.
Okay,
I'm
one
not
of the first
saying it's
time.
the first.
Okay,
but
yeah.
That's when I was doing research and stuff. It said it's one of the first that
'Cause I was thinking,
to
like,
combine the two.
Mary Poppins, but they stay human form. You know, because Mary Poppins, they go in the chalk paintings and it's animated,
Right.
but they themselves
Right.
stay human.
Right.
Oh no,
Okay.
Macaulay Culkin is no longer human.
There were not very many movies. I'm sure there were.
Well,
but
the other one I thought of was Rockadoodle. Do you remember Rockadoodle?
I do, but I'd never watched.
Do you remember Rockadoodle? Rockadoo.
Yeah, like I know who you're talking about, and I remember the rooster.
Right, yeah.
If I remember plot, no.
That's a really weird
Is he the one in? Is he the one that makes a cameo in the Robin Hood movie? The animated Robin Hood movie. The guy who plays the every time.
Man, that song. We're covering that movie.
Okay.
That song is awesome. Although it's super sad.
That is, yeah.
You were asking, was it made by Disney? No, it's the same animation team that did An American Tale. The first Fievel. And then The Land Before Time.
Oh, okay.
Same crew. And this movie took 3.5 years to make.
Oh man, that's gotta
because
stink.
of all the animation and all the stuff that they were doing.
And then it flopped?
And problems. Ooh, yes it did.
Dang.
3.5 years.
Yeah, and that's why when you watch Richie Rich and you watch Getting Even with Dad, Macaulay Culkin looks so different in those movies because he filmed his parts earlier on and he was younger in those scenes.
Okay.
And in Getting Even with Dad, he's got this weird mullet thing. Ted Danson's. It's a weird.
Are these prior to the first Home? These are prior to the first Home Alone, right?
No,
these are after.
These are after.
It's before Home Alone 2.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, okay.
I think so. I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure.
I think Home Alone 2 came out like 95, 96.
That makes sense.
No. They were like right after each other. They like literally wrapped on Home Alone. They were like, "Let's go to New York and get everybody together."
Throw them in the car.
Those two movies are both amazing.
Lock that kid up.
No, but like, I mean, 3 years for 75 minutes worth. I mean, not even. Probably just an hour even of animation. An hour even. Yeah, I mean, in terms of that. But like, it's funny that you mentioned that because I was looking at the animation and I was like, okay, there's a lot of like similarities to some Disney artists.
There was some legal trouble around the movie.
Oh.
So it's possible that is what stretched it out. The guy that wrote the movie, they tried to rip him off, basically. The guy that I have the names here. So David Kasky was the original screenwriter, and David Kirshner tried to take sole credit for authorship of the screenplay, and they ended up going to court.
That'll do it.
And the Writers Guild actually got involved.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, and it was the most extensive and expensive investigation they had ever undertaken to defend this gentleman, and he was saying that they found that Kasky had done everything, and Kirshner didn't deserve any credit.
Right.
Oh, like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck when they wrote Good Will Hunting.
Okay. Shots fired.
Shots fired. Did you see the Family Guy bit about that?
No,
I don't think so.
They're just like sitting around smoking weed, and he's like, "Hey Matt, what are we gonna call that movie?" And he's like, "Ben, I did like all the work on this movie," and he's like, "I contributed." And he's like, "What?" And he just like farts, and he's like, "What about that?"
That's my contribution.
So the fix that they came to was that the Screenwriters Guild of America threatened to file an injunction and stop the movie.
Oh wow, okay.
And
that's a lot for
basically they got joint screenplay and screenwriting credit on the movie.
Man.
But the guy that screwed the other guy out of his stuff is lucky that he went along with that.
Right.
But it's probably super expensive to fight all that in court. And as long as he gets his money in the end, then he walk away from it a winner, other than this guy wrote it when I actually wrote. No, come on.
Yeah. I got to say, like, for all those creative collaborative, processes, I've had to collaborate with other designers in my career and had to do stuff. Like, whoever you talk to, as if they gave you something, anything, if they said a weird word that suddenly made you think, oh, that's perfect, that gave you that inspiration, just give them credit. A little credit. Just give them the shout out. Like, it's really selfish, honestly. And like, shout out to all the people in California right now who are fighting for the correct pay for the work they do, because we wouldn't have the movies without.
And not only that, to fight against AI taking over and giving up your likeness just from being videotaped and filmed to be able to be placed in any movie on any screen. It's just unfair. It's ridiculous. These people are, because the upper echelon make millions and millions and millions of dollars of actors, but there's so many character actors or background actors or filler. They need extras.
Yeah.
Well, and if we go with AI, then they can just fill the screen with whoever they want.
Yeah.
And if your likeness was used and you've signed it away, then you're done.
Yeah.
So I think that is a very important fight, and I think that we're going to see a lot more fights like that in different sectors and different areas to try and stop the loss of millions and millions of jobs.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the Pagemaster.
Anyway, Pagemaster.
So this is where he meets the Pagemaster. It's he looks like Merlin, kind of.
Yeah,
big blue wizard hat.
He does.
Yeah.
Little Gandalf-y, little.
And so he his library card is the only thing that comes with him. Like his gun or his big rain jacket.
Well, when the paint falls, it hits
takes
him
it off
and he strips it off.
Yeah.
So he's running away, and this illustrated dragon finally catches up to him. And he wakes up, and you get the classic, he looks at his hands. And the one thing he says, throughout the entire movie is he's like, this is not good. This is definitely not good.
Definitely not good.
That's our wet noodle.
Yeah.
It's like Star Wars. I got a bad feeling about this.
Or like Rain Man. Definitely not good. Definitely not good.
Definitely.
And so he meets Christopher Lloyd's second character, which is the Pagemaster, which makes sense because he's the librarian.
Yeah.
And he's become part of the illustration. And so basically what Christopher Lloyd tells him, oh yeah, if you want to get out of here, you have to go through adventure. Basically, you have to face your fears.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
Horror and then fantasy.
And then this book cart just comes and just whisks him away towards the
Takes
exit.
him to the mythical payphone
Yeah.
that he was looking for. The voice comes over and says, "Warning, due to the storm, all phone lines have been disconnected." Wait. You just disconnected the phone because it's raining outside? Not that they've been knocked out or...
Hold on. I think we need those for...
Can I call 911? Can I call 911?
The only reason we still have a landline is because of hurricanes.
It's for those situations. Exactly. Yeah. No, shut them down. Just shut them off.
Shut them all down.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's at the payphone and he's covered with a bunch of books.
Yeah.
And then one of the books starts talking to him, and it's Patrick Stewart's character, Adventure, who's a book. He's a book.
I didn't recognize
he's a book
him.
dressed like a pirate.
Yeah.
I did not recognize
the accent that he
him.
uses is crazy.
Yeah. And you were saying it was funny because I was watching it and you were texting me and I was watching it with my kids and they loved it, by the way, which was cool. But you were like, oh, there's so many famous people in it. I was like, who besides Macaulay Culkin and Christopher Lloyd? And I started looking and I was like, oh, Whoopi Goldberg. Hold on. And then Patrick Stewart, and I was like, wait, he's what? He's the pirate book? It didn't make his whatever accent he put on there was just hit him up.
He's Scottish, right?
In real life?
Yeah.
I
think
maybe.
I think he's Scottish.
IMDb.
But he's doing a thick pirate accent.
Yeah.
He's trying to really, and he hams it up, and it's
trying to be
good.
adventure.
Yeah, and it works.
He's awesome.
But the adventure agrees to help him because he sees that he has a library card. So these books are basically it's really sad. These books are all sentient and trapped in this library.
It's terrifying.
Christopher Lloyd. No, that's my book.
I want to leave. Please take me.
Let me
with
get
you.
out of here. Yeah. So he agrees to help him find the exit if Macaulay Culkin agrees to take him with. So
Richard Tyler.
Yeah, Rich. He's named Rich, and is he named Rich in Man vs. Dad? Because if he is, he got the Rich trifecta with Richard Tyler.
I don't know. I didn't see getting even with that. I just saw the trailer.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
And so then they start to make their way toward. He can always see the exit sign. That's one thing that he can always.
Well, that's
see.
what he's supposed to be heading towards.
Right.
Yeah. And he says, "Let's get to the top of the bookshelf so we can see the
better.
exit sign."
And you hear Christopher Lloyd's voice constantly, whenever he gets stuck. He's like Navi and Zelda, look to the books.
Look to the book.
Yeah. Instead of "Hey, listen," you get "Look to the book." Hey, listen.
Hey, Navi, shut up. But he's scared to climb the
He
ladder.
hates heights, so he's scared to climb the
Not
book
into
ladder.
it. Yeah.
So Adventure does the logical thing and opens 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and lets the squid out.
Yeah.
Terrifying the kid up the ladder.
First they open some other book and a Cerberus, a three-headed
Oh no,
dog.
No, that's later.
Oh,
that's later.
Yeah,
That's later.
okay,
But I love the psychology behind this movie, where it's if you got a fear, just get over it.
Yes.
Let's not talk about it. Let's not work through it. Just get over it.
It's exposure. You got to expose yourself to your fears.
Build me a bridge.
Nothing is gonna make everything okay by keeping in a safe space and being protected against things you don't want to hear.
So basically, Adventure says, "Well, if you're scared of heights, are you more scared of this squid?"
Exactly.
So you're not really facing your fears; you're just picking the ladder.
Yeah. Here you go.
Either or.
Quite literally, pun intended. You're picking the ladder.
I didn't see what you did there, Teeth. I like
and
that.
as they, I didn't even know that was a thing.
That's good.
Sorry.
That's really funny.
I also have.
Okay.
And then
That's
okay.
This comes with.
That's if DJ Khaled ever comes on our podcast.
Yeah, we need him.
Another one.
Budget approved. So they're climbing up this ladder and they meet their second of the Super Friends. They meet Fantasy.
Richard Tyler falls from and he grabs one of the books. He just happens to grab the book that can fly.
The book with wings.
Well, thank God.
And he grabs her by the face.
Yeah, he grabs Whoopi Goldberg by the face, and she basically floats him down to the ground, and then basically they come to the same deal where, you have a library card.
You take me with you.
Yeah.
We'll leave together.
And so
I like the insult she throws at Adventure. You know this short story?
Yeah.
The different things like that are so good.
And Whoopi Goldberg is Adventure, so she's really good.
And he says, I'm a classic.
Yeah, I'm a
classic. Yeah, that's what they all say.
That's what they all say, yeah.
Oh, man, book humor. Just book humor throughout the...
But like a good, I guess, through thing in this movie is each time you open a book, you can pull something from the story. She uses wings because she's she's a fantasy, so she has a magic wand,
and she's wearing glass slippers.
Yep.
Yeah, you do see her toes through that. That's what that is, isn't it?
And she makes comments about her underwear and her pantyhose way too much for me. way too much. Especially since I know what Whoopi Goldberg looks like in real life. I'm not trying to think about that. Her Little Mermaid panties. Okay, see, it stays with me.
Yeah,
it's not fair.
It's been sitting in there.
I
want to
look to the books, find the exit from that memory.
So, him and Adventure. So Adventure, they both, like each time a book is up, so they wind up in the horror section.
Right. Yeah, because that's when
because he doesn't know where they are.
After they go back and forth, fantasy and adventure picking on each other.
Right.
In that exchange.
They open up
he opens up the Hounds of
Berkshire?
Baskerville,
which was written by Arthur Conan Doyle, the same guy who did Sherlock.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
I'm a nerd.
He opens that, and
they dive through the bookshelves to get away,
and basically like a giant hellhound comes out of this.
Oh my god! Looks like like we talked about last week with. Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah, like the goblin
one of the
gremlin
thing.
Yeah,
yes. Oh my gosh, terrifies me right out of my shoes, and I'm diving through that bookshelf too.
I love that Rick Moranis character.
Yes. Man, I have to say though, if more libraries look like this, I'd go. I would go.
I would not.
You're also not a little bitch, so you probably wouldn't end up in this situation.
I will get a Kindle, thank you.
You can sit at home.
Yeah, does it have a movie?
No one's threatening you. Oh, you want adventure? You want horror?
Got Karl Marx is breathing down your neck.
And so they dive through into this graveyard. That's where they go when they go through the bookshelf. Yeah. And above this giant creepy mansion is it looks like Luigi's Mansion.
It does. What I thought.
Yeah, it really does.
Like I'm waiting for him to pull out a vacuum and start sucking up ghosts.
I halfway expected him to just go Mario because he was walking around.
What a great game!
Yeah,
perfect game.
So they walk up and you meet my favorite character of the entire movie. Yes. You meet Horror, who is voiced by give me a second. I got
Frank Welker.
Frank Welker, who also does the voice of Shao Kahn from Mortal Kombat. And basically he's this like old decrepit. He looks like Frankenstein. Is what he looks like.
And it was hard because I was like, wait, are they doing Frankenstein or are they doing
Hunchback of Notre Dame?
Hunchback of Notre Dame.
He's a mix of the two characters.
Which I was like, is Hunchback a horror movie? Or are we just afraid of misshapen people?
Back in the day, I guess.
Or Igor. He could be like Igor, like Frankenstein's little right hand
Dr.
man.
Frankenstein.
That's true.
Yeah, so he looks like the Frankenstein monster. He's all like stitched up and his spine is like all folded. And he walks like with a limp and his arms like drag on the floor. He looks like an orangutan. Yeah. But his voice is perfect. He talks like with this low
Yeah.
And he's a giant coward.
Yeah.
That's the best part about horrors. He's a giant coward.
He was my favorite character as well. I liked in terms of the animation, I liked his design. Fantasy and adventure just kind of they felt like just kind of like a gimme. Like it was like, yeah, okay, that's what, yeah, pirate, all right, fine. But his, like, I really liked the character development behind
I'm
it.
shocked that you didn't identify with Macaulay Culkin's character.
Anyway, so we talked a minute about the animation styles. Oh my god, a lot of it was fine. Like there was good stretch and animation rules where okay, your character doesn't just land. He falls into his weight but there were certain moments where like he does these stretches where like fantasy says, oh look, horror is smiling, and he does this like that's a smile and his lip comes up like next to his eyeball and it gives him the weirdest expression. And then can we talk a moment about Macaulay Culkin's cartoon styling and his lips? Like
he had fillers.
Yeah, no, like they were.
He did the Kylie Jenner challenge thing with the cup.
That's it. Yes,
suck the cup.
No, but like no one else has these enormous, luscious lips that they gave Macaulay Culkin. I was like, this doesn't feel right. Like
Christopher Lloyd drew it.
Yeah,
Mr. Dewey. That's why he got all up in his face.
That's funny.
Oh man, yeah. So there's some styling issues I have, but sorry, continue. So they're at the horror house.
So and then once inside, you figure out that the house belongs to Dr. Jekyll.
You get the quick joke from Whoopi
from from Fantasy.
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde must be a duplex.
Must be a duplex. Yeah. So you see the names on the mailbox, and then they ring the doorbell, the big bell, and the door creaks open. And Dr. Jekyll is voiced by Leonard Nimoy. So you have Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock.
So crazy.
And
it's Jean-Luc Picard.
Yeah, but I know, but it's just you have a captain and you have Spock.
Yes,
I guess definitely. That was the.
There's a lot of Star Trek through lines in this movie.
So then you get them. Dr. Jekyll gives them like this big speech about how they shouldn't have come here and all of that, and he's that you can have monstrous things, and he gives them he tries to give them poison,
like alcohol too, but like
acid. It's just acid. It's just acid.
And adventure is all about it.
He's like, give me that.
And
he's adventurous.
Horror won't leave him alone.
Yeah.
Horror won't leave him alone. He ends up spilling it, and it eats through the floor.
And bats fly out.
And then immediately Dr. Jekyll drinks it and
becomes Mr. Hyde.
Does the change into Mr. Hyde.
Yeah, but you expect Mr. Hyde to be like this big, brooding. The reason being is because I think of the movie League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, where he becomes like the big, incredible
I like that design.
Hulk
I like that
monster.
design better.
But in this one, he becomes like this little twisted, like goblin-looking guy.
Also, would still scare the hell out of me.
Yeah, with like the big yellow eyes and like the.
No, he looked like the lead singer of My Chemical Romance. That's what. When I was a young boy.
That's the song that was playing.
No, my kids hated that character. They were like, what? And
Yeah.
like when he does the big grin into frame and they really pull in on him, yeah, they didn't like it.
Yeah,
they
and so
were good.
Horror has the bright idea to drop the chandelier on him as they're like running away from him, but then he gets caught in the chandelier, like in the chains of the chandelier, and they're getting dragged into the hole in the floor.
Yeah, because Hyde's holding on to the rope.
Exactly, and that's the creepy part to me when like they cut to him and it's like the red flashing across his face and he's like smiling with his big jagged teeth and he's like clawing at the. I was like, oh, that's creepy.
Yeah,
it's nightmare fuel.
This is what used to haunt my dreams. Oh, I understand now.
And finally, Fantasy goes in with her with her wand that doesn't work. And so,
when she's out of the fantasy section,
she lights it into a blowtorch, like frees him from the thing, and they're running away. And you hear they get to a stairwell, and they're like, "Which way?" And Adventure's like, "Up," and they go up, and you hear a bunch of screaming, and Horror goes down, 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 down.
Oh, you know what? So Horror, he didn't get spotlight. Wait, did we say this already? Horror, like the thing you and your brother used to. We talked
that was
about
him.
Okay, no,
that was where the sound clip was.
We played the sound.
We talked about,
but that's Horror that does
that
sound clip because he's trying to convince them not to go in the house.
Yeah, right.
He says, "I'm scared of everything," and then that's where he goes with it. All the screams, and man, that's still.
That reminds me of the character from In the Army now. Where they're like, "What are you scared of, Fred?" And he's like, "Damn near everything."
Yes. And the interesting part about this movie, I was wondering, why are they using Frankenstein and all these old books that people wouldn't notice, and they had to use. They used stuff from 1923 and before.
Yeah, stuff they couldn't.
Because it was in public domain. It was outside of the copyright. And
just like Winnie the Pooh is now public domain. And now
which is why you get the horror movie with Winnie the Pooh.
Of course, yeah. Winnie the Pooh goes public. Yeah, Winnie the Pooh goes public. What do we do as a society? Oh, let's make it terrifying. That's perfect.
And scare the children.
Then we go into adventure.
Yeah, they get out of the house. And they end up on a beach.
Yeah.
Like the back of the house is like a beach.
Cliffs.
And they like roll down a little cliff and you see the exit sign over the ocean. Yeah. And Adventure's all pumped up because it's a pirate's life for me. So they find a boat and Adventure's, this is his domain. So let's go. Like, we're on the boat. We're sailing toward the exit. And there's a hole in the boat when they start sailing. And Adventure has a peg leg because he's a pirate. And they're like, oh, we're taking on water. And Macaulay Culkin just grabs Adventure and boom, just pops him into the hole in the boat.
And then they see the boats on the horizon.
Right. And it's Moby Dick.
Yeah.
It's Captain Ahab.
It's Captain Ahab from Moby Dick.
The most ridiculous part was, the scary part was not Mr. Hyde. The scary part is when Captain Ahab sees Moby Dick and becomes Captain Demon.
Yes.
And the red lighting, and he's got the spear over his head.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness
Did
gracious.
his eyes change? Am I crazy? Do I need to rewatch that? Did his eyes change like glowing red? Was that that thing? Yeah. So,
of course they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the whale wins, obviously, because it's Moby Dick. And he comes up and wrecks their boats.
Yeah.
And so Macaulay Culkin is, in the Jack and he's in the Jack and Rose situation here where he's on the one plank and he's floating in the water and he finds Adventure.
He
plucks
finds
him out of the water.
The big board that they can both be on.
Yeah. And Richard Tyler and his
just like they could have been in
does
the
allow
Titanic.
them onto the board.
Yeah, not like Rose where she was like, get out of here, bitch.
This is my board.
He plucks Adventure out of the water and Adventure he's like, where are the other two books? And he's like, they're dead.
Yes. And he says, I looked for them, laddie, but they've gone to be with
Davy
Jones
in
his
Jones.
locker.
Yeah.
Last time I checked, I was like, books usually float. I'm just like, I mean, they take a while before they onboard enough water and they sink.
Yeah, so they see like a rowboat, and so they flag down the rowboat, and it turns out that it's
because the sharks are in the water,
right,
circling the board, and you hear Adventure say, "Careful, laddie, not all sharks are in the water." And
that's good advice. That's good advice.
Life advice.
I'm gonna put that on a shirt. That's gonna be another shirt.
Not all sharks are in the water. Careful, laddie.
Yeah, and then there was a brother died. Come home, grandfather.
Brother dead.
Brother dead. And now not all sharks are in the water. So, yeah.
But they meet two unsavory characters
black eyes, like a doll's eyes.
who are actually part of, again, going back to non-copyrighted pirates. They're part of Long John Silver's crew.
Yeah.
So you get on his boat and he tells them that they're going to become like deckhands, basically. You're going to do what we tell you.
Cabin boy.
Yeah, you're going to be a cabin boy.
Which sounds way worse than deckhand.
Yeah. So I tried to non-creepify it a little bit.
I had to creep it up.
This boy's got luscious lips.
He's going to be my cabin boy. And so they sail to Treasure Island is where they're going.
Which is just a skull coming up out of the water.
But great name if you're looking for treasure.
We live near the Caribbean. I mean, I think I've seen a couple skulls come out of the water.
That's possible. Terrible place to hide your treasure, though.
On that unmarked island.
Who's not going to look
They
there?
should have listened to One-Eyed Willie and taken it to the Pacific Northwest. No one would ever find it until the Gloonies came along.
The Gloonies.
Oh, God. That's who found my treasure? That's who found my treasure.
And so they're taking them to the treasure and they're going to make them dig for it and all this stuff. And they can't find it. They're like... his whole crew is really stupid and they can't find the treasure.
And they're getting pissed off at him.
And they're getting mad at him and they're going to turn on him. And then fantasy and horror show up to save Adventure and Richard Tyler.
Yeah.
And
because they do find the treasure and someone's already dug it up.
Right.
And it's one doubloon and they turn on Long John Silver.
No, I got to say, it's a Muppet plug. You know who does it better? The Muppets. The Muppet Treasure Island. It's a better movie. Check it out. All right.
That's true.
And then they have a fight scene ensues where they beat the pirates and then they're starting to make their way back to the exit and horror is following Adventure around feeling like a pirate.
Well, it's one of the moments that Richard Tyler has to step up.
Oh yeah,
because Long John Silver is making his way back towards them, and Tyler has to pick up the sword.
Yeah, he picks
and
up
hold
the sword
him off,
off
and
of
he
it.
says, "Okay, laddie, I'm going." And then he starts singing because horror. The way they come back is he does the. What is the song? The Richmond. Oh, shoot, I can't remember it off the top of my head.
It's like something of like Dead Men Tell No Tales, but it's something
with a bottle of rum.
and a bottle of rum.
Yeah, and then he starts singing it as he's rowing away from them. It was very funny. And then horror goes with adventure, and they're because they Long John Silver threw the library card overboard.
Yeah.
And they're all depressed that they don't have the library card and a way out anymore.
Because you can't get another one of those.
No. You saw Karl Marx. He's not up to giving things out.
I'm not talking to that guy again.
No, I'm not going back to him. And so they're walking on the beach, and
he's dressed like a pirate. Horror's like I save you moment is very Sloth-esque from the Goonies.
Yes.
Because he comes out of a tree and he's like, bye.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then they're walking on the beach, and Adventure's just getting annoyed with horror, and finally yells at him and hurts his feelings like a big jerk. And horror walks away, and then Adventure finds the library card washed up on the sand, and runs back to Macaulay Culkin and Fantasy. Is all excited, and then she says, "Where's horror?" And he says, he was with you, wasn't he? What did you say this time?
Yeah.
Because they know that Adventure's a big jerk. And he has to go find him, and they go over the hill, and horror is tied down like Gulliver from Gulliver's Travels.
By the Lilliputans.
Yes, by the Lilliputans. Yes, for sure.
Man, I couldn't remember. I was like, I know what this is from, but I couldn't remember. And I was like, I know this is referencing something.
And this is like their first foray into the fantasy.
Yeah, the first toe.
Yeah,
into
exactly.
fantasy.
You've dipped your toe into the fantasy pool.
You gotta give some credit though to the writers who both got credit. Like to use all of this like
the transitioning and stuff between the books. And everything,
and also
between the genres without
the genres, and then also using the non
copyrighted
or what is it, the public domain stories. Domain. I was like, oh yeah, there's a lot of them, and they put them in a nice order. Like I felt like that was cool. It was a good grab with horror.
I didn't catch the transition. I was actually talking to Trey about it a few days ago, and he said, when he's tied down, like in Gulliver's Travels, that's when they start into fantasy. And I was like, oh, is that really? And he says, yeah. And then when they come back and fantasy is actually there, her wand starts to use her wand, and it's working. Oh, yes. And what is it that Adventure says that he says some smart alecky, you sure your wand is working?
And he's like, well, let's try it out. And she turns him into a
drag queen
pirate.
Pirate.
He's got
horror has a great line there. He's like, "You look beautiful."
Yes, that was great. I remember laughing at that. That was another one of those scenes where I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember this."
He has like great one-liners in that movie because he's like the dumb comic relief character. So like that's why. He's the Michelangelo of their band.
He's a little slow too, which makes it even better.
Yeah, I appreciated that transition though. I was like, okay, like so they're in adventure, and it wasn't just like and then it was like therefore like he got Gulliver Travel captured, and then they're in fantasy. Okay, that was a nice writing.
And then they have like the weirdest scene from
this makes zero.
You go into like
sense.
Your obligatory like song sequence.
It is the worst song ever.
And there's like the pixies dancing around.
The fairies come. And they take Richard Tyler's glasses off, so he starts to chase them. And these bitches take his glasses and put it right here on this rock. Come get it on this rock. It's right here.
Yeah.
So he goes in there and he gets his glasses and he puts it on. And the mud-covered dragon that they just put his glasses inside the mouth of.
That's right.
Comes to life, and this poor dude. Oh no, it's on top of his head.
Yeah.
So he's on his horn, holding on for dear life while the books are screaming. And it's the slowest moving dragon I've ever seen in my entire life.
He just woke up.
Like, come on, bro, let's get this show on the road. Or as Trey would say, road on the show.
I forget what that's from.
I don't know either, but it's very funny.
But anyway, there's this long spiral staircase that leads. You can see the exit door
up on the tower.
on the tower, and so Richard Tyler gets all excited. He's like, "Come on, guys!" And like they start climbing the tower, and he doesn't even realize that like this dragon is still chasing them. He thinks that like the dragon is at the bottom, and he gets to the top of the tower, and the 3 books are cornered by this dragon. Like they're in a crack in the staircase, and Fantasy is. Her wand is her wand gets knocked out of her hand, so she doesn't have it. So Adventure's gonna make like the sacrifice play and go out and fight the dragon, and then again where Richard Tyler has to like face his fears again, he finds a dead knight. So what he finds, and he like takes the helmet and the skull just. Like hits the dust, like it doesn't just like make like the little cartoon like where the bones fall apart. This thing just disintegrates.
You were saying though about Adventure being like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make the sacrifice play. And he's like, not before I get a little action.
It's true.
Yes,
like
I was wondering, was that the moment we were talking about? Because they're in there and. He says they make some sexual innuendos to each other, and then they kiss, and it's hot and steamy.
Yeah.
And he says, how'd you like to curl up with a good book?
That's the one.
And she punches him out of the hole.
Good.
Wait, you just, like, you were into that.
I'll go die now. You can die now.
You can leave. Yeah.
She's very confusing, as in real life. But yes.
But then Richard makes his way back to the dragon with the shield and the sword that he picked up off
fight for those books.
To fight for the books.
Literature.
And then the dragon ends up swallowing him. Like the dragon eats him.
Yeah, he loses.
And he I'm gonna fight the crap.
And that's and that's the end of the movie.
Ding.
That's Pagemaster.
Right,
thanks for joining us. It's been wonderful.
And so he's sitting in the basically in the gut of this dragon, and he's like, "What am I gonna do?"
He's pouting.
Yeah, he's
and then
not
you hear,
good. It's definitely not good. And you hear,
"Look to the books."
And the dragon apparently has an appetite for old books.
Yes, he does love Jack of the
He's been
Beanstalk.
housing books, and like he says, he finds first he finds like a couple books where he opens it, and
useless.
he's like, "Nope, no." Like throws another one away, and he finds Jack in the Beanstalk, and he opens it, and the beanstalk from Jack and the Beanstalk starts growing,
and he finds her wand.
And he finds her
too.
wand in the dragon had eaten the wand.
Yeah,
damn.
So he has the wand, and he has the beanstalk.
He's riding the beanstalk.
He's riding the beanstalk up, and he grabs all the books, and he's taking them to the top, and this dragon just starts eating this beanstalk
from the bottom.
Just housing this beanstalk like it's a piece of
He's
asparagus.
been asleep long enough to become rocks.
True. And so then they finally get up and they get away. They get to the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
Well,
they don't ever really slay the dragon.
Oh, we forgot real quick when he's on the horn of the dragon, and Fantasy and Horror are down together, and she says, quick, turn to page whatever. And he opens it up, and he's like, Arabian Nights? And she says, yes, that's the one.
Carpet,
and rips it out. The magic carpet comes out and flies off and grabs it.
Okay, that was, I when you reminded me of that, I was like, okay, that's kind of a cool like superpower if you're going to have one. Like a Marvel character would be like, you just carry books around and like all of a sudden just rip something out. What do we need? AK-47. What's quick? There you
go. So he gets to the top, and they get to the exit door, and they open it, and like, it's this big tornado of like everything, and the Pagemaster comes out, and all of them are like bowing to the it's the Pagemaster.
And Richard Tyler's screaming at him about.
He's like, "Hey,
I almost died. I was attacked by pirates.
Been swallowed, and
I haven't had chapstick in an hour.
You see these lips?
We're drying out."
I thought he was gonna start quoting numbers, and 50% of all fatalities in a library
happen when you turn into a cartoon and you fight with books.
Yeah,
but 100% of learning.
Well, and basically his response is, "But tell me all about it."
But you're here, aren't you?
Yeah, but you're here, aren't you? And so that's when he realizes that, like, oh yeah, like even though it was scary and all this stuff, like it was an adventure. That's what it was. And so he comes to, basically.
He wakes up from being knocked out and having CTE.
And the 3 books are just
Yeah. And I do love the way they treated the books.
Yeah.
The two fantasy and adventure kind of look normal,
Yeah.
but horror just looks jacked
Rough.
up.
Dude, you wouldn't take that off the shelf.
No.
If you
it's
walk by
covered in
that,
dust and like the
It's
spine's all bent up.
Yeah, it looks waterlogged
and like,
and damaged.
and like the other two are like
I
when they
did
hit
like
the
that.
ground, it's like, and then horror hits the ground like.
I did like that book design. That was cool though.
Yeah, it
I
was
was
really,
like, all right,
really
if you're
cool.
gonna build a horror book, let's make it big and ugly like that.
Yeah,
That's
so
brilliant.
he wakes up and he starts to go towards the exit, and Christopher Lloyd is like, "What happened,
Are you okay?
Marty?"
Come here, I need to get in your personal
Yeah.
space.
And so he tells him that he wants to check out the books, but he's only allowed to have 2 at a time. And he's like, "No, I can't."
I promised them.
Yeah, I promise.
What
And he's like-
library though? Is
and,
like
he looks at him like, "Oh, you must have had the crazy dragon acid trip." Yeah, right on, dude.
That one.
Yeah, right on, dude. Like you can have all 3. It's
the
fine.
card, the library
just
card
between
I
us.
gave you is laced with special
Yeah.
purple.
when he gives him the library card, it's like burnt and like looks,
Oh,
looks
yeah.
like that library card looks like it's been through hell and back.
Yeah.
It
was
went to
inside a
Mount
dragon.
I went to Mount Doom.
Did.
Frodo.
They should pave that shit over, put a Kenny Rogers Roasters on
Yeah.
top of it.
But so he goes outside and gets like back on his bike. And the one thing I did like in the movie is that his parents are actually looking for him.
Yes.
Like-
Actively.
Actual concern.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not like it's not like Home Alone where they're like, we left the kid at home and the airline doesn't have any flights.
And only the mother is trying to get home. The
Yeah,
rest of them are like, let's enjoy ourselves. It'll be all right.
I'm going to Louvre.
Yeah.
He's kind of a dick, don't you remember?
Yeah, he's kind of a wet noodle. And so he starts riding home on his bike.
Well, he took when he crashed
Right.
it, the
So he
windshield
rips
fell off.
all the safety stuff on.
Yeah.
And he gets back to the part where he can cut through and none of the neighborhood bully kids are there
It's
anymore.
the
there
middle of the
anymore.
night.
But
Yeah.
their makeshift ramp is still there. So he like stops and like looks at the books and takes a deep breath and like goes over the ramp and gets home and all of that.
Skies it.
And
Yeah.
so his parents are like looking for him and they pull back into the driveway and his bike is just like
Yeah. And they were talking about right when they pull in, the mom saying, "But we should call the police. We should call."
Yeah.
Look, he's home.
Yeah.
Yay.
And so it turns out that he had gone into the treehouse. That
he
his
was
dad
reading his
somehow
books.
finished without the nails.
Without
that
the
he sent.
nails. I did think of that. I was
Again.
like, this dad's gonna get up the ladder and be like, "Great, I'm glad you're home. Where are the nails? I sent you. It was
You
like
had
9 hours ago.
You had one job. And it was to
One-
get the nails.
Now again,
Nails.
the dad never really needed the nails. He just wanted to get rid of the kid.
Please,
Well, he
just
made
go.
him fall out of the treehouse.
Yeah,
And then
Please
at
just
the
go
end, he's sleeping with the 3 books. And then when
not in a gay way.
No, like in a normal, like how you
purely
How
platonic.
you fall asleep
Purely,
reading books.
yeah, with
Yeah.
books, yeah.
platonic.
And in the shadow of the nightlight, the 3 silhouettes of the animated books are there, and Adventure says the line that he says from before, where he's like, "Take it in, that be the free air you're breathing." Like it really feels like they got out of prison.
They're slaves.
Yeah.
They're slaves,
my
and they've
gosh.
been freed.
They real. I mean, like with a warden like Christopher Lloyd wandering around. The books. The books.
Karl
Like,
Marx.
I really want to get out of there too.
Yeah.
Like,
And that makes me wonder, like, does he just never take those books back?
No,
Like,
I don't think he does.
He just
Would
runs
you?
up. Well, he just runs up
You
a
know
bunch
they're
of
alive.
fines with the city, like,
Whatever, bro. Who are they going to come after?
calling your tab.
How much do I owe?
I wrote
32 cents.
I wrote Ricardo Tyler on my library card.
I don't know who Ricardo L. Tyler
Yeah,
is.
I don't know. It's not me.
Ain't me, Chief. I'm not that guy, pal.
So we've been
Not that guy.
we've been talking roughly about an hour and 7 minutes, which is still longer than I think this movie actually
Yeah,
was.
it's 13 minutes shorter than the actual movie.
Which I was like, I mean, what was funny is my older one. When the movie ended, she went, "That's it."
Yeah,
I was like, "Oh yeah, that."
it's
that
a very,
was it,
it's
yeah.
like a very like you could watch this in class in like high school.
Oh yeah, that was when they wheel in the TV with the VCR. And they're
They
like,
don't do that anymore.
"We're gonna watch some animated lips for an hour."
But no, I remember we watched this movie. One of my teachers had it. The first time I knew it like existed outside of my aunt.
Oh really?
One of my teachers put it on in elementary school. And
Oh,
like the
man.
whole class was like, "That's the kid from Home Alone." I'm like, "That's the kid from Pagemaster." It is a good movie.
No,
We're
that's
about to-
Pagemaster. Everyone's like, "What the hell is this?" And like Trey knows.
I've got a couple of interesting tidbits to add on to the end here.
Hit me.
the guy that played Horror was a true voice actor, unlike your famous people who were just doing voices.
Unlike your other people.
Yeah. He did Moby Dick.
Oh,
in
he
the
did,
movie.
Okay.
He did a couple things like that, and then what was I trying to think of here? He was the dragon also, and then
they needed a voiceover for that. Right?
Jim Cummings was the voice of Long John Silver in the
Oh.
movie, and Jim Cummings is the voice of Winnie the Pooh. Yeah, so I thought that was pretty interesting.
But he only works
for
smackrels of honey.
Wow, that was really good.
That's wow.
Golly,
Oh
dude.
my God. You've been pocketing that for like 34 years? I didn't know that. Oh my God.
One other super fascinating thing that I read was that Joe Johnston was the guy that directed the live action sequences.
Okay.
When the movie came out, or was final edit and was getting ready to come out, he realized that they had edited them behind his back without his knowledge, and he refuses to attach his name to the project after that, which ended up working out really well for him, considering that the movie was had a $34 million budget and made $13.7 million at the box office, which is a little bit of a flop.
You got to think that whole studio is just like, we're on the Macaulay Culkin train, and this train is just going to bank.
Well, like we talked about at the beginning, Macaulay Culkin had the 3 movies come out, all flopped. He retired from acting.
Oh, this was one of the reasons why
that year was the reason that he retired from acting. Apparently, not from his mouth, but that's what the story is. Until he was an adult.
Syndrome. Like that plays.
I'm just glad that he didn't turn into Corey Feldman.
No, but this is like those.
He's doing all right now. I think. I like Macaulay. I like him.
He's been on the Angry Video Game Nerd a bunch, and he's a cool dude. It seems like. Yeah, and he had the whole band where it was like about pizza.
The underground, the Pizza Underground. Yeah,
yeah.
They're great.
He appeared on a really popular YouTube channel, Smosh. Did like bits with them.
What is Smosh?
Smosh is like it's like a variety channel, but the one thing that I really like that they do is called Try Not to Laugh, where like they sit on a stool and they put water in their mouth.
Oh,
He went on that, and there's one joke that he has where he walks out and he's walking out backwards. And you're like, what the heck? And he's like, he looks at the person in the chair and he's like, do you like the B-52s? And they're like, and he turns around and he goes, cock lobster. And out of his zipper, there's a big lobster. The person loses it. It's really funny.
I like that show. That's a good one. Yeah. No.
But this is like, these like opens up that whole, like these are the movies that I remember being in the credits of the other movies I wanted to watch.
Yeah.
Like the one that always stands out, and I don't even know if I've actually ever seen the movie in its entirety, but Little Big League is that movie that we watched so many times. And one of the movies that's made by this same studio, I think, is The Indian in the Cupboard.
Excuse you?
Yeah. You never saw it?
Sorry.
You haven't seen Indian in the Cupboard?
I don't think I've seen it like all the way through. Like I think I've seen like an amalgamation of it. Like
wow.
Because I never owned it as a kid, so yeah.
Wait, why do I feel like that movie was in your house? Like
I don't
I've
know.
seen
It
that
might
movie
have
in
been,
your house.
but we had so many movies in our house.
Yeah, they're
like
just
I told
everywhere.
you. Several VHSs with like 5 movies on them.
Yeah. But like then there was like The Brave Little Toaster.
Yeah.
And like Fern Gully.
I love the idea of a lot of those movies.
Pre-Avatar?
Yeah, pre-Avatar. Yeah, Fern Gully was great though. Like I love those movies. Like the idea behind them was like, how can we traumatize children in the shortest amount of time? Because like if I had to make a list of like, oh yeah, you want to like teach your kid about like life and death, have them watch Land Before Time on their
cartoons.
own. Yeah. Like on their own.
Yep.
If you want to terrify them about like the environment, watch Fern Gully. Like, just keep going down that list. You'll have someone with just as much anxiety as you.
That's right.
But no, this movie, I mean, I like this movie a lot.
Yeah, I enjoy it. Yeah.
I think it holds up pretty well, like the animation outside of like very few things, like Macaulay Culkin's face.
You're an illustration.
Oh, an illustration. I'm sorry.
That's what he says.
When you move around, you're an animation. When you're still, when you melt off the wall, you're no longer.
It is crazy to see how they do these animations with illustration like this and not with CG, where it's just drawing on top of drawing on top of drawing, and it's free like. Moment in time, almost like second by second.
Yes,
filming.
it is. Yeah.
And then it makes sense. Like, it took 3.5 years. I'm surprised it didn't take 30 years to make that. It's
no wonder it's only
crazy.
an hour and 20 minutes long.
I mean, people just gave up. It's got another one. God,
but it's not a. I mean,
if we don't cut Frankenstein as a damn movie, I quit.
Yeah, it's not a terribly long movie. I rented it on YouTube. It cost me like $1.
Yeah, it was
$1.50 or $3 or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was good. I mean, Bridget had never seen it. She watched it. She really liked it. Her favorite character was Horace. She's like, "Who's your favorite book?" I'm like, "Horace." She's like, "Oh, okay, me too."
Yeah.
But no, the movie's a lot of fun. I was happy we got to do it when you suggested Macaulay Culkin movies. I was like, Pagemaster. Got to. That's one of my favorite movies.
That's what I love, though. I love that we get to finally bring up okay, yeah, I remember this one. I loved it. And not a lot of people do, because I think there's some service and some justice to happen, because they certainly made our childhoods just that better, so much better, just to have those things to recall. And yeah, I mean, cheers to Macaulay Culkin that he's still made a career after being who he was in the 90s, especially after Home Alone and The Good Son and he had his rough years there in the middle time, but he just always kind of kept going and just kind of kept being who he was. And so, just
really rough for people like that who their rough years are followed by the tabloids like it's going out of style.
Right.
They're all up in your business everywhere you go. Look, the guy hasn't been in movies since the 90s. Leave him alone. Nope. What's going to sell? What's going to sell?
I'm totally open to a Macaulay and Kieran Culkin, his little brother. Let's do a brother comedy with them and just run with it.
Like a buddy cop movie.
Yeah, let's run with it, because I do. I would love for him to have a comeback like a lot of people have had as they're coming through. So
this where I remember it. This was sold as part of a family feature with Rookie of the Year and The Sandlot. So this one was two of my favorite movies ever, and then this one was hey, you watch exactly.
We should really do, because the 90s, late 80s, early 90s were definitely the baseball years,
the sports movies.
Yeah, all the sports movies and all the Air Bud movies.
There's Mighty Ducks.
They're still making the Air Bud films. I'm going to tell you that. My daughter has found some Netflix.
How old is that golden retriever?
They just keep reviving it. Air Bud the 15th. Yeah.
It's like Ugga from UGA. They just keep naming it Ugga. He's Air Bud.
That's right.
Oh my gosh! Well, anything else you want to share? Anything else you want to drop about this?
Who'd your Muppet be?
Oh man, I think it was Christopher Lloyd. And to that other point, I would remake this one
with all Muppets.
Yeah, all Muppets, but
no live action, just animation and Muppets.
All Muppets. Yeah. And for some reason, what's his name? Who was in the Muppet movie? In the one he wrote. Oh no, it's leaving me. God. Not Ryan Reynolds.
Jason Segel?
Jason Segel. Thank you. Yeah, just Jason Segel and everyone else. Jason Segel is Macaulay Culkin in that. Yeah. That's who I would do. Oh man, yeah. But I mean, with a lot of things being rebooted, would you guys I would like a Pagemaster reboot. I would take it.
I would be okay with a remaster of it. I don't know if I want another actor to. I like Macaulay Culkin as.
Yeah, and as much as I've bagged on Karl Marx. It's Christopher Lloyd,
baby.
Oh yeah,
it's good that you can
take that to the bank.
It's basically the same character. It's Doc Brown, except it's way creepier because you can tell he knows Marty. And, you don't know this kid.
Yeah,
your best friend is a shamed
physicist.
Yeah, physicist. Yeah. Oh God! Well,
get off my back about it.
Yeah,
it was the '80s. It was fine. No,
I'm late for school.
You see the gadgets that guy has?
The huge amplifier.
He's got a sweet car.
Yeah. Oh man! So I think that's gonna do us for this episode. Again, so we're live on YouTube now. We're mostly on Spotify, but you can find us anywhere else that podcasts are available: Apple Music, Google, Amazon, all those. We do have our Instagram and Facebook page, which is
nostalgialand.podcast.
Check
us out. Yep. Follow us. Like us.
Please comment. Please do. Oh, please comment. Yeah, please leave a comment. Let us know what you like and don't like. What do you want to talk about?
We want to hear what we're doing this for you guys. Yeah. We want to hear what you got to say.
Absolutely. Yeah.
If you want more of one thing, less of another, do you have more facts about the movie or something like that. Whatever you want from us, really.
I'd like to hear them.
I really do. Yeah. Challenge Tyler's research, please. And be like, oh no. No, I would love to get in a common debate. That'd be amazing about the facts of these movies. But all that to say, also, we do have our store. Our store is up and running. I've ordered a few pieces from it myself. We had a couple orders over the weekend, which is pretty cool. We got some supporters out there.
Awesome.
And that is at nostalgialandpodcast.com. So no dot in the middle. So nostalgialandpodcast.com. Like I said, we're starting off real simple, just a few shirts, and there's a pair of socks up there, which I like crazy socks.
Me too.
They're kind of my thing. As I sit here barefoot, but I do enjoy them. Sorry. But
how you get black feet.
Yeah.
Gosh. That's another... We're going to have to explain that on the future
keep going on that one.
Day.
Stay tuned. So thank you again for joining us from all here. I'm Matt.
I'm Trey.
I'm Tyler.
We'll see you later.
Next time.